What's up, arm wrestling world? It's Matthew. Crazy hair, just got out of the shower. East versus West 16. I'm gonna give you a writer's response to the event. I'm not sure if anyone watches my videos anymore. Sometimes I'm able to make one that pops off, but lately it's been kind of, but whatever. Let's just do this because it's fun and I like to get my thoughts out there and share them with you. So, I'm just gonna rattle these off because otherwise I'm gonna forget. Levon's little exhibition match against, I forget his name, Kirill or something at the end. That was very interesting. Oh, and before I start, I'll just say the type of response I'm gonna give to this event is gonna be less focused on the technical and the athletic type stuff. It's going to be more focused on the character developments that have happened for these arm wrestlers. I like to focus on the kind of mental side of things. Anyway, Levon and Kirill. Yeah, one point of interest was that Neil said the refs themselves didn't know that this exhibition match was going to happen until right then. That's kind of what he implied, I think. I have a hair in my eye, jeez. Get the fuck. Okay. So yeah, the refs didn't know, and therefore I get a feeling maybe Levon didn't know either, or there was just maybe a miscommunication about how it was going to go, or just a lack of communication about how it was going to go, because after that first little round with Kirill, it was like Levon was looking at everybody like, okay, what now? And they were all trying to like explain stuff to him or whatever, and he okay, I think one of several things could have happened here. One is, I guess, the least likely one, so I'll just get it out of the way. One is that Levon felt something in Kirill that he didn't like, and he was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this match with Kirill. I'll be humiliated in my own homeland. You know, I highly doubt that. But the other options could be sort of like toned down versions of that. I mean, it's possible that Levon is. I mean, we know that Levon is off season. He is training. He is getting strong, but he is not at his peak. And maybe Levon just has a thing about only wanting to compete in competition form, in prime form, and I mean, we've seen him lose in practice pulls before, but this is not a practice pull, what he's doing with Kirill. It does feel a little bit more official. It does feel like it would have a bit more of an impact on his brand if he actually lost to Kirill. So, I mean, for all I know, yeah, maybe he felt something in Kirill and just didn't want to go there, didn't want to test those waters. Maybe there's a little something in his wrist or in his elbow that he just doesn't want to mess with. I mean, that could be it. He just doesn't want to risk some kind of injury. He doesn't want to pull like too hard right now, which is totally valid if that's the case. I'm sure he would be able to beat Kirill, but it's like he still doesn't want to risk tweaking something and throwing off his prep. So yeah, that or maybe it was just that it didn't fit the vibe for him. Maybe he didn't want to demolish this nobody arm wrestler in front of his people for some reason. Maybe it was just an honor thing. Like it felt wrong to do that. I don't know. So those are my ideas about what happened with Levon, and I'm very curious to hear from him what actually happened because obviously I don't know anything. Yeah. So moving on, Devin. Geez. So the hero must become a monster to beat the monster, right? We're starting to see that metamorphosis happen. Devin climbing to 300 pounds and looking just like, I mean, his neck is the most noticeable difference to me. He's starting to look and act a little more like Levon, which is really scary. In the way that he acted toward Gennady, he was almost fatherly. He was almost like just putting the kid to sleep, in a manner of speaking. He had this calm look, and I think when you get really, really strong, you just get calm like that, especially when you're with an opponent who's, get out of my mouth. when you're with an opponent who is not quite at your level. And I think Gennady was not quite at Devin's level tonight. Gennady had the eyes of a scared child. He was just wide-eyed. He was searching. He was, yeah, I mean, like Neil Pickup said, he was jumping on his bike to call out fouls and just basically run to the refs for help at every possible opportunity. That was his game plan. He was just trying to pull out something on technicalities, and yeah, it was scary to watch him run from Devin like that. And of course, Devin was maneuvering as well to artfully, catch Gennady in technicalities of his own. But it's like just very interesting to see Devin climbing this mountain and doing this sort of symbolic switching of cloaks with Gennady, where Gennady almost becomes like Devin's little green disciple wearing his hoodie at the end, and Devin gets the black cloak of death at the end, almost to show that he has like ascended to another level and become a real threat of some kind. I'm not sure exactly what that cloak represents in like Georgian mythology. I'm sure it's something important. I would like to hear more about what that is if you know anything. Vitaly versus Morozov. Very interesting to see how angry Morozov was. In the lead up to this event, I was really wondering if Morozov was going to like clock Devin at some point. He was just looking so incredibly frustrated. Kind of like I get toward my own father at sometimes, just like can't fucking stand the guy anymore. Wish he'd shut the fuck up, Like, yeah, that vibe was going on, and you could tell that he had to get something off his chest versus Vitaly, but he might have done it too soon. He might have let out too much of that steam in round one, and he's got that butter wrist thing going. I think he still has some completing to do as an arm wrestler. He still needs to work on his rising. You could tell that his rising was just giving up every time. What else? Oh, of course, Michael Todd versus Hermes. That was one I should have mentioned from the get-go, but it happened kind of early in the card, so I forgot about it. It happened too early in the card, I think. Wow, really, really disappointing. I wasn't there at the table, so I couldn't see the millimeters, but it just seemed like, yeah, Michael's style totally depends on those millimeters, and they may have been stolen from him in a couple cases. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, but it's just really disappointing for a match to come down to that, and to be so unsure. And I'm sure Michael's very disappointed as well, because like it just seems like he's playing a different game from everyone else. He's playing this game of millimeters, and maybe others like don't care as much in a way. They don't want to bother with these Michael Todd matches that always come down to this. It's like it's almost like a whole different game in a way. So I feel bad for him that maybe he doesn't get a fair shake all the time. And I just feel really bad that like, he as such a strong Christian with such a cool mission statement was sort of held back from doing the big thing that we were all excited to see him do. I'm not a Christian myself, but I used to be, and so I can definitely like feel the power of that mission that Michael has. Super cool stuff. But yeah, Hermes was very, very impressive, and very interesting to see Hermes kind of like have that little spat with Rebecca. I assume it was Rebecca because Michael said like, don't talk to my wife like that, Hermes. That was scary. That was an almost coming to blows moment that, yeah. Gosh, Gennady, he kind of hit Devin a couple times too. This event got a little bit heated, didn't it? I was genuinely scared a couple times that we might have something real happen on stage. And I wonder if they are intentionally kind of pushing the envelope there, seeing if they can use that sort of fire to increase their publicity a little bit, Or maybe things are genuinely just getting that heated between the athletes. I wonder what the organizers think about that. Anyway, I probably have more thoughts, but that's basically it for now. Great event. I'm very glad that I've been buying the pay-per-views ever since East versus West 1. I don't think I've missed a single one since then, maybe like one or two. Anyway, yeah, great event. Thank you, Engin, and everybody for providing entertainment in the form of the only sport that I regularly watch. Take care, everybody.